What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to install a NISMO steering wheel on your car. I'm in the driver's seat of my Nissan 370Z. Now, this is a touring sport, so it comes with a lot of nice stuff like leather and Alcantara seats. You know, it's got a nice steering wheel, it's got a nice performance to it, but there's a couple different parts that you can upgrade with NISMO parts to make the car a little bit nicer. So the wheel that you guys are seeing right here is the stock touring sport wheel. So it's a pretty nice wheel. It's made out of leather. It's got a really good small shape to it, but there's one part of this that I don't really like. So if you're just driving your car normally, I don't really think you're going to notice this, but take a look at the contour, the actual shape of the wheel. So it's round, but down here, there's like a weird little bulge that comes out. Now, I'm not entirely sure why that's there, but like when you have your hands at 9 and 3, it's not too bad. But when you drive your car slightly hard and you actually feel the entire wheel, it's a weird kind of feeling gripping the steering wheel right here because it's completely smooth except for this one little part. So what I'm going to be doing today is removing this steering wheel along with these buttons and replacing them with the genuine NISMO pieces from Nissan. So I was on eBay and I was fortunate enough to find a authentic NISMO steering wheel. It was used, but I was able to pick it up for 300 bucks. So the previous owner to this wheel thought that the wheel was basically garbage because the Alcantara or the suede part on the steering wheel was a little dirty. That's the only reason why he was selling it for cheap. So I was like, okay, well, I know how to detail a thing or two. So I picked it up for 300 bucks, brought it home, used some simple tools. I used a detailing brush like this. I used another one like this, along with some Meguiar's all-purpose cleaner and a microfiber towel, and I was able to make it look like it's a brand new wheel. Like, even if you get a close-up of this thing, it doesn't look like there's any imperfections or anything wrong with this wheel at all. So, I was lucky enough to pick that up, along with these black, authentic NISMO steering wheel controls for the Z. So, I'm going to be throwing all this stuff on the car today, and the first thing that we need to do is disconnect the battery. The battery is found on the left-hand side of the engine bay once you pop the hood. It's going to be found underneath this cover. All that you need to do to disconnect the battery from the car is loosen this 10mm nut that's found on the negative battery terminal, and then all you have to do is lift the entire thing up and out. So you have to make sure that this does not come in contact with the terminal, and then we're going to let this sit for about 5 minutes so that any parasitic draw will be removed from the car. So that way we're not going to have any kind of potential hazard or any energy or power that's still left inside the lines. So to begin with removing the old steering wheel from the car, we need to remove the airbag from the wheel first. So with the power disconnected from the car, we're not going to have any problems or potential hazards of the airbag going off on us. So the first step that we're going to need to do is go on the sides of the steering wheel, and there's going to be two little clips that cover up two Torx bolts, one found on each side back here, and you take them out and set them aside. Once you do that, you can grab a ratchet with a security T30 Torx, slide it into each one of the sides of the steering wheel, and you're going to see that there's a bolt that's in there. So these two bolts are actually securing the airbag up to the wheel itself. So there's going to be two of them that are in there. So the first bolt actually dropped in there. It's not a big deal. We'll be able to get that once we take the airbag out. Do the exact same thing for the driver's side bolt on the airbag, and they look something like this. So it's not really a long bolt by any means, but there is Loctite, so it might be a little stuck. And then once you do that, you should be able to pull the airbag forward slightly, but keep in mind there are still going to be wires that are connected to the steering wheel controls and also the power and ground for the airbag. So just be careful, take note of that, and then you'll be able to actually see all the wires found back here. So the wires that are for the airbag along with the clock spring are all found behind the airbag. Now not only that, but we also have our little bolt that dropped right there. So with the airbag out of the way, you'll be able to see all the wires that are found back here. So this set of wires here is for all the steering wheel controls, and the other two wires that are found underneath are coming from the clock spring, and those are the power and ground for the airbag. So just keep note of which ones those are. Be careful when you disconnect these ones here, and just, take some precautions while you're doing this part. You're not really trying to rush it. Do not try and pry anything off if it doesn't want to come off. Be sure you're removing the clips properly. So on this one here, there's a little tab on the bottom part that needs to be pushed up, and then that gray clip can come out. The same thing goes for the wires that are on the back side of the airbag. So those two clips, the yellow and the red one, need to be pried up. Now you don't need to apply too much pressure because at that point you might be damaging something. So just take it easy, don't rush it, and you'll be able to get all this stuff removed. So the gray one, the clip goes in, To remove these two clips right here going to the airbag, you want to remove and lift up the little black plastic part. You want to lift that up, and then at that point, the clip itself will be able to be lifted up as well. I'm just sliding this little pick into there, and it lifts up the little black part. So see that little gap? See how you have like enough room in there? So once that's out, the entire thing can be pulled up. So I'll just do that again. I hope you guys can see this. Lift it up like that, and then the whole thing comes straight out. Don't need to force it, don't need to do anything. And then once you remove that, the entire airbag assembly can be removed from the wheel. So here's just a quick rundown as to what we did. So we have the one connector in there. That is pushed up, and then the entire thing can be pulled out. These two guys here for the airbag. So can you guys see how the little black part is not an actual part of the yellow clip? So see how it goes in? Well, you can't really do that now, but once the airbag is actually installed on here, this goes into it, and then the black part gets pushed in afterwards. So if you guys want to install it, it's like that. If you want to remove it, it's the opposite way. So you first have to remove the black part. So you're going to slide a little pick into the back side of it, right at the bottom, lift the entire black part up, and then at that point, the entire thing can be removed. It's pretty simple. You just got to take your time with it. And now at this point, we can actually begin to remove the wheel from the steering column. So the only thing that's really holding it on is this nut here. And we just have to slide these little wires here on the bottom of the airbag out. So that's out, that's easy. So now it's just a matter of removing this. There is a tool that you can buy that's called a steering wheel puller. It threads into this side, and once you have that bolt removed, it'll actually pull the entire wheel off of the steering column. Now, I have the tool, but if I can get by not using it, it's going to make my life easier along with yours. So sometimes these wheels are stuck on there pretty good, sometimes they aren't. It's basically impossible to tell beforehand if it's going to be difficult or not. For 20 bucks or whatever the tool costs, I think it's worth it to have it. This isn't the first wheel that I've replaced, and I have had to use it before because one of my old wheels was stuck very well onto the steering column. So I'm going to begin by using my 1/2-inch ratchet with a 19mm socket to try and break this loose. So you're going to slide this over top of the socket, grab the wheel with one hand, grab the ratchet with the other, and try and break this loose. There we go. Okay, so we aren't exactly home free yet. This is just loosening up the bolt. So don't take it out completely yet. What I first want to do is see if I can... Oh, there we go. That's easy. Huh. Okay, so for this car, I did not need to use the puller. But if I did have to use the puller, it'd thread into there, and then you'd take off this nut completely so that you can extract it and pull the entire wheel off. So we're basically almost there, guys. Now, it's important to do this entire procedure with the steering wheel starting off straight. So at that point, you're not going to install the wheel crooked and then have a misaligned car afterwards. So there you go. There is our 19mm bolt or nut and washer all in one unit. Take that out, save that, and then we'll be able to remove the entire wheel from the steering column. Be careful not to snag any of these electrical connectors. And there you go. So on the left, you'll see that we have the airbag that we removed. We have the stock silver, and black buttons. These here are the new NISMO buttons and steering wheel controls. So this is all going to be getting replaced on here, so it's all going to be black. This here is the Touring Sport wheel, and this here is the NISMO wheel. So both of these are the exact same setup. They're both the exact same size. They do have a slightly different shape to it. So the new NISMO wheel is completely circular, whereas the Touring Sport has a little bit of a hump down here. Now, not only that, this entire thing is made out of leather versus this one here that is made out of leather, and it has a really nice soft suede to it. Now, not only that, we've also got a nice little red stripe at the top. So this is going to be a really nice upgrade for our Z. So first things first, I'm going to remove these old buttons and the old controls and swap them with these ones. Okay, let me interrupt myself for 2 seconds. So instead of going ahead and purchasing these buttons, hoping that they'd fit, well, let me tell you guys right now, don't buy them. Don't buy these NISMO parts, at least the NISMO steering wheel controls, if you guys don't have the NISMO car. So the steering wheel controls that are right here are technically different. So this piece, which is the cruise control button, this is an extra button that's a part of the NISMO wheel. On the Touring and the Touring Sports, there is no area for this button to actually be inside the steering wheel. So unfortunately, this is useless. So I can sell this to someone else that needs a NISMO piece, but if you're going from a Touring or a Touring Sport and you want to run these black buttons, well, you can't, unfortunately. So this here is now just a nice paperweight, but we can go ahead and install the stock airbag with our normal silver buttons with our NISMO wheel back on the car. So we can now go ahead and install the new steering wheel onto the steering column. So we're going to slide both the electrical connectors through the metal part of the wheel, and we're going to try and align this up without turning the clock spring so that we can align it and get it so that the line on the top of the wheel lines up with the line on the steering column. So once it's lined up on there, you're going to grab your nut and you're going to tighten this onto here. You're then going to grab your torque wrench and tighten this up to 30 foot-pounds of torque. So you just slide it over top of the nut like that, hold on to the wheel, and then turn this until you hear a click. So we're going to make sure that the clips and all the wires and everything get plugged in the correct order. So be sure to put everything back to how it was. So if you remember, we moved the connectors for the airbag. We moved them out of the way from the little clip. Make sure that you have those in the proper spot so that once you actually put the airbag on and you go to use the horn, everything works as it should. So we're going to go and match yellow to yellow, orange to orange, and then this electrical connector here for all the steering wheel controls back into the connector. Now, if this is an automatic, you're also going to have other controls found in here on the clock spring that you're going to need to reinstall. But because this car is manual, we don't have that. So yellow first, push the yellow down, and then the little black clip. Once you hear that little snap, you're good. And then you're going to do the same thing for the orange connector. Slide it in, click. And then last but not least, we're going to have that gray connector found on the back. Slides in place, super easy. Airbag goes back over top. Make sure it all works. And then we can go ahead and install both of those torque bolts, those security torque bolts, on the sides of the airbag to secure it up to the wheel. And last but not least, you're going to go ahead and grab these two little plastic covers and be sure to slide them and install them into the sides of the airbag. And then that there will pretty much complete this entire DIY. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm still not comfortable, even to this day, with working with airbags. So even when you go ahead and put the power on in the vehicle and you have it working, I still like coming in on the passenger side with my key, and I'm going to turn the vehicle on from here. So should the airbag deploy accidentally or we did something, it's not going to blow up in our face. So we have our key, AC on. Okay, here's a moment of truth. Once we turn it on, the airbag, if anything's wrong with it, it will deploy. So here we go. Haha. Okay, so good news. We're not dead. So guys, here it is. The new NISMO wheel is installed on the car and it looks amazing. Now, what's really nice about this is that it's super smooth all the way around. There's no contour change or anything. So it's got a nice Alcantara suede feel on the side. We've got some bolstering up here just to make sure that, you know, your hand is really nice and secure, but it's got a good feel and I'm pumped to take this thing out for a spin. If you ask me, this is basically how the car should have come stock. So with the nice suede seats we have in the car, this steering wheel accents it nice, it looks super good, and it's a really sweet OEM Plus modification. Now, I have in my other vehicle a custom-made carbon fiber and completely reshaped steering wheel, and it's a really sweet looking wheel. So here it is. This is my custom-made carbon fiber. You can see I've got carbon there, real carbon up top, and it's a completely reshaped steering wheel. This keeps all of my OEM controls all on the wheel, OEM airbag, so this will pass a safety and all the regulations. But would I actually do this again? Well, it really depends on what kind of build you guys are going for. So if you guys want something that looks really cool and is amazing to just look at, you know, there's no other comparison. This is the way to go. Carbon fiber and completely reshaped looks killer. But if you guys drive your car like an asshole and you guys actually want to get a nice performance wheel out of it, I wouldn't go with a route like this. So even though this is nice and a completely uniform circle, no flat bottom or anything, you know, it looks good, but when you actually go to grab the carbon and you want a nice grab and a good feel out of your wheel, you're not really going to get that, even out of the reshaped leather. You know, it looks good, it feels pretty good, but it doesn't feel as good as a nice, proper OEM steering wheel. It can't compare to a wheel like this. I've seen many different Z wheels that have a reshaped bottom, completely flat, made out of carbon, you know, the carbon up here and all that stuff, but I wanted to go with an OEM upgrade that is perfect like this. It's a direct bolt-on, there's no modifications needed. I am more than content with this upgrade. Let me know what you guys think about this kind of modification. Would you guys do this? Would you go with a carbon one? Let me know what you guys think. Comment sections down there. I'm going to be including some more information about this change and about this carbon setup versus the stock OEM setup. And I'll also be linking in the description box that steering wheel puller should you guys want to see it, check it out, buy it, or whatever. Don't forget, tomorrow's Tuesday, so that means a new episode of New Tool Tuesday is coming up. So be sure to stay tuned for tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.